Hello, Napa Valley Adult School friends. This is Francisco again, just doing a little quick video review or notes, you could say, about yesterday's session. Thank you for joining me yesterday afternoon. So the first thing to create your Epic account, remember, you go to the website www.getepic.com. We'll bring you here to this site, and then you go to where it says Educators, right here. And you would tap on Educators. Let me show you where exactly. So you're going to, so right here. So once you sign up, you click on Educators, you would go right here where it says sign up for free. So right here where it says sign up for free. And again, it's free for teachers and librarians using your district email account. Then here you would read about the benefits of the educator account. Then I would go to get started. So here's where you're going to put information about your school. Your school address. Hopefully I'm putting the right address for, this is just another sample account. The city, the zip code, and the type of school, public. Where it says tell us about yourself, current grade, other, occupation, teacher, could be a reading specialist, teacher assistant, IT department, school administrator, principal. Which one of these best fits your title? I'll do teacher. How many years have you been teaching? Years you would select. This is just for data purposes. First name, you would select your title. You would put your first name and then your last name. Now, when your students go into your Epic account, they're only going to see your last name, for example, Mr., in my case, Pinedo, or whatever your last name is. Your school email. And your password. Remember, please remember this. Please, please, please. The password is the password that you will share with your students. So please make it something simple, something easy for you and for your students to remember. A good rule of thumb is an initial. It could be your initial. It could be your school name, your something that's easy for you to remember. I would use always the initials of my name, FP, and then my school phone number. Let me show you that. So I would do, for example, my initial and then my school's phone number. And if you see something that says missing field required, I forgot to put the zip code. So I'm just going to put my zip code. I don't know NAPA zip code. I should, but I don't. How did you hear about Epic? It could be, choose whichever option here. And then you would just go ahead and let's get reading. So once you created your free account, you'll be prompted to a page similar to this. Sometimes it varies, sometimes it's a little bit different, but you would see here where it will have your name. Okay, this one here was the sample one I created. Then you would click on the little avatar or the little picture. Mine's an apple with glasses. And then here I would put again the same password that I created when creating Epic. Same password I will use with my students. Remember, mine was my initial, FP. 678 6440, and then I would do go. And then once I'm here, let me just move my screen a little bit. To add students, remember, I would use the dashboard right here. Click on that. Okay. And then you would look over here and you would do create profile. Don't do any of this here, the Google Classroom. Uh, this is for students in K-12 that have a district email. A lot of the students in elementary, middle, high school, they have their own email, my first name, last name at district.k12.org, whatever. Our adult students do not have a district email, so this function will not work. It will work if you're working with concurrent high school students, or let's say ESL is your part-time gig and you have a full-time job as a teacher in the K-12 system, then it will work. But for adults, it will not work. So please stay away from this feature. You could play with it a little later on. I haven't. That's why I really don't know much about Google Classroom. So then you would go to create a profile, the little plus sign here, and then I would put the student's first name, the student's last name, and then I would go to create profile. You would have to do it one by one for each of your students. So you would do create profile. And then notice once you added the student, it will be blank again, so you could add another student. So this time I'm going to add first name, last name, then create profile. Okay. Notice this one, after I created the profile, I could just double check here. And it looks like it didn't create the students. I'll just press create again. There we go. So if you see the name here again after you press create profile, that means it didn't save. Now it did save. Oh, it's way down here. You can't see it on your screen. Let me just move my, there we go. So that's the latest one. And then it tells you when you created the accounts, the dates that were created. So notice I have 10 students. I'm going to add one more. I'm going to have a class of 12. So I'm going to add Blair Roy from OTAN. She's going to be a student in my classroom. So notice every time you create a little student, this little bunny that looks like just got out of the gym pops up. It says, hey, you've created my profile. So that's also another little good indicator. And then again, you see her name still there. That means I'll just press on create profile again. And there she is right here. So again, little glitches like this one here, the name's there, but it still shows here. Just click on it and erase it and then add another student's name. Okay. So once you have your classroom complete, you have all your students. Okay, so here you would see you have 11 students. Then what I would do is I would go back. Well, remember, to enroll students, you must use a computer. It could be a PC, Mac, a Chromebook, but it has to be a computer. Some people say they're having success with their mobile devices. I personally always say a computer because you have a bigger screen. It's a lot easier to do, and that's what I work with. So some people have had success with doing it with a tablet. I'm hearing that, but I am sticking to the computer. So once I finish enrolling students, I go back here to dashboard, the little apple. Okay. And then I would hit these three little, I don't know, these three little lines. Some people call it the sandwich. I just say the three little lines at the corner over here. So you tap on these three little lines here, this little thingy here, and then you would go to, so once you finish enrolling students, you would go to sign out. And then once you have that, you would see your name. Now, if for some reason you see your name twice on it, um, make sure that we try to only keep it once. So what might have happened, I might have added myself as a teacher again. So remember, this is a class that has my students. I could verify. I tap on it, and you could see all my students there. Okay, if that was correct, I do sign out again, and then I check the other profile. So notice this one prompts me to this. That means that that account is somehow accidentally created. If that happens, you see these three little dots here, like the little stops, like the little stoplight, like the red. Well, you don't see red, but I call it the stop. That's the terms I use with my students, like the three little circles, like a stoplight. Tap on that, and then you would do remove from this device. Then that way you just have your account. Otherwise, students might go into the other account. They'll be say like, "Hey, my name's not here. What's going on?" So we just want to keep uh, your profile here. Notice you can add another teacher if you are sharing iPads. It might get a little bit difficult because you'll have more than one teacher. You have many teachers, and then students will. It's more prone for students to go in the wrong one. So if you have your own iPad set, if that's only yours, only create yours. But if there's another teacher who will create who will be sharing your iPads, they would go to add teacher, and then they would create their own free account. So you can have more than one accounts on Epic, on the devices, I mean on the iPads, but each teacher would have to register his or her email just like you did and add their students, and then you would see one teacher here, another teacher there, and another teacher there. I kind of discourage that, but if you're sharing iPads, that's the thing you have to do. So now on my iPad, I go ahead and open up my iPad, and then I would choose the tap on the Epic icon. So that's wherever it's located on your iPad. If you don't see it on the first page, just go ahead and slide it, and you'll eventually find the Epic app. So it looks like this. Tap on it. So remember when I told you you could have more than one teacher account in a device? Here's that situation. This is me. This is my actual class. And then this is my second class. That's my 10 to 12 class. So, I'm sorry, no, this is not my class. This is the beginning high teacher, Mr. Garcia's class. So we kind of differentiate it because since we're both Mr., our students just see Mr. and they go into the wrong one. So mine is Mr. Pinedo, my 8 to 10. And then Mr. Garcia's intermediate is 10 to 12. So his students know that the class is 10 to 12. So they tap on that one. Again, so I'm sorry. This is my students. These are another teacher. We share these iPads. He's right next door to me, so that's why we share. So then I would tap on mine, me, the teacher, Pinedo. So this is what your student is doing. So just let me clarify. This is what your student does. Your student goes into your teacher account. So they would verify that by your name. And then they will find their name here. So after you enroll all your students, you would go find your name. Mine's here somewhere, I know. I created an account for me as a student. Okay, well, let's say it's not here. For some reason, it's not here. It should be here. I would tap on, let's say, Ana Lilia right now. So I go into my account as Ana Lilia, let's pretend I'm her. And then this is what I'm going to see. After this, well, first of all, the student is going to see choose a preference, choose an age. After they do that, remember we did that yesterday, then the student can actually look at books based on their preferences. To search for books by Lexile level, we go to the little search magnifying glass thing, and then I go right here, search options. And if I want to look by Lexile level, and then remember using the CASAS sheet, converter sheet, I guess we could call it, or the graph with the correlation of Lexile, whatever term you want to use is fine. You use, I just tell my students, take out your CASAS sheet, they know what I mean. And I always have it displayed up on the board, so just in case. So let's say this is my Lexile level, and I want both. I could select only fiction or nonfiction, or I want both. The more options you have, the better selection you would yield. So then I would do search, and then I could do all collections books. So if I go to books, and then if I want to, let's say I want to look for dogs. So it's going to give me dogs in my Lexile level. Quizzes. I really didn't touch on quizzes yesterday on the training because of the lack of time. But if you want students to take quizzes, these here are books that have quizzes. Okay, so remember, I chose dogs. So whatever the student chooses. So let's say those are the books that they'll be seeing. So for example, I tap this book. Notice right here, it's telling me the Lexile level. So it's 24 pages. I'm reading. I love this book. I'm reading. I'm a fast reader. Okay, we finished the book. So now, when you finish the book, you're going to see two options. Notice I flipped it a little bit quick, so it says you need a little longer to be able to complete this book. But then down here, you see the option that says take quiz. And then are you sure you want to do the quiz? Yes, I'm sure. And then here you would see there's 4 questions. So why do people need seeing eye dogs? Because they're blind, because they're clumsy, because they can't smell. So I would put because they're blind. And it says I'm correct. Question 2, what is the owner of a seeing eye dog called? A harness, a handler, a person. Well, I'm going to purposely choose person. And it says nice try, try again. So that means it was wrong. Why do seeing eye dogs wear a harness? To keep them calm so they won't run away. For the handler to hold on so they can follow the dog safely. What are seeing eye dogs trained to stop at? Donut shop, grocery store, pet store, staircase, crosswalk doors, the zoo, at the park, hospital. I'm just going to choose a wrong one because I want you to see. Notice the ones green here were correct. So now it's giving me the results. So I got a 50%. So I usually have the threshold if the student scores 50% or below towards the beginning of the year. As each quarter is progressing, I bump it up. So next quarter it would be 60%, then 70%. Then I wanted to ultimately have an 80 to 90% mastery on quizzes, but notice here they could take the quiz again. So I would do take again, and it would be the same questions. If you have children in K-12 or you've had children or you've been a K-12 instructor and you remember AR, Accelerated Reader, and the AR tests, the Accelerated Reader test, very similar to that. So that's the feature on quiz. Then you would finish the book. Notice your students get points for every book that they read, so that's a little incentive for them. Remember to exit out of the book. I tap on the middle of the screen. Then when I see this arrow, I go back. And when your student, very important, when your student finishes using their account, they tap on their name. And then they go over here, switch profile. And then once they're here at your teacher, they're good to go. Or if you have more than one teacher account, you would just go change teacher. But since these, that's what I would do, because remember, I have 2 teachers on the iPad here. Okay. Hope this helps. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to email me. I'm very good at responding back to email within an hour or so. Sometimes I'm extremely busy. By that evening, I will return your emails. And I look forward to seeing you again for TDLS in March, where I would be doing this session and then a part 2. I hope you could join me for part 2, because there I have some other really great apps, and I really hope that by then you've had enough experience using the iPad where you would recommend iPads that you would like to share with your friends and colleagues, not only at NAPA, but throughout the whole state of California. Okay. Thank you again, and I hope you enjoyed this little video tutorial.